and were consistently told we were confused. And here we have a governor, unlike a governor 21 years ago, that where Gary Locke was willing to implement the will of the people, even though the court struck it down. Here you have Jay Inslee basically saying we ain't going to do anything about it because he agrees the voters were confused.
It was Bob Ferguson's job as Attorney General to defend the will of the people. Now, I've talked to you over the months leading up to all of this. Did he zealously defend this initiative?
God, no. God, no. We really got hackneyed from the very beginning because we got stuck in King County. And since King County was one of the plaintiffs in the case, it was a pretty clear thing where if he had recused himself, stepped aside the way Senator Steve O'Bannon had recommended because of all the, clear conflicts that Ferguson had in the case with me, with Sound Transit, with all sorts of other issues, they would have immediately moved this thing out of King County, and it's very likely this thing never would have been put on hold in the first place. And once they got that hold, that preliminary injunction, it just never went away. And I really think that would have made a fundamental difference. And Ferguson didn't do that, despite the fact that he was told to do that, ought to do that. He just said, no, I don't want to make the judge mad at me.
Yeah,
it was just bizarre.
It's really interesting because over the years I've called Bob Ferguson the most dangerous politician I've ever covered in all my years on the air. And it's because he will destroy a florist in the Tri-Cities for standing for her religious principles. He wants to destroy you now. I mean, he wants to take away your First Amendment rights because you have long been somebody who's fought for these tax-cutting initiatives. And so what is he doing to you to try to take away your rights?
Well, it's been 8 years of investigation and litigation. They've spent nearly $2 million of taxpayer money. It's more money than they've spent going after anybody in any other case over the last 7 years combined. More has gone into the going after me. And the stated purpose of the lawsuit isn't just about money, asking for more money than I'll ever have, a lifetime ban on all my future political activity. And many people just say, you're exaggerating, but it is the reality is that you cannot, under this lawsuit, ever comply with the restrictions that are in it, and it's a lifetime ban on all future political activity. So it is so ridiculously unconstitutional, but it's pretty clear that by spending so much money, he was counting on me essentially running out of money where I could really defend myself, and I just couldn't sign on to that. He said, if you voluntarily sign this lifetime ban, this whole thing will stop. That happened during the mandatory arbitration. And I just said, that's blackmail, and I'm just not going to succumb to that. So it is a knockdown, drag-out fight. It's gone on for 8 years, and I just found out recently that the trial is going to be 4 days, November 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th, and I think the entire effort behind it is not just trying to convince the judge to do the lifetime ban, but to just make me look so bad that nobody will ever support any initiative I'll ever sponsor ever again.
So what we're looking at, and I don't want to make this about me, but we're looking at a state that is manipulating things for totalitarianism, because all they care about is raising our taxes. That's all that Jay Inslee has cared about. And Bob Ferguson, he feels like that's going to bolster his run for governor in 4 years. Bob Ferguson last week sent out to his massive database. He asked them to contact my employer to have me fired. I find this very troubling, and I know the direct lawsuit action against you is orders of magnitude greater than a petition against me. But I find this very troubling that we have very powerful politicians who want to silence everybody who is a voice of dissent in the state right now.
Even though at the end of the day, the entire system is rigged against us, we can't even describe our frustration with it. I mean, when Bob Ferguson, whose job it was to defend $30 tabs, celebrated the ruling. I mean, it was his job to actually defend the will of the people, and when he loses the case, he celebrates it. and says, this is great news. I have a great team that worked on defending the measure. You lost. You lost for the voters, and you lost for them on purpose, and you're celebrating the loss. It just made my head explode. And this lifetime ban on me, the effort to fire you, we can't allow anybody out there that disagrees with us to have a voice to even criticize us as we're dominating everybody's lives. I mean, it's a very, very scary time.
Yeah, it is. It's truly unprecedented. And as I've told you, you and I don't agree on everything. You and I had a big on-air fight a few months ago. I don't agree with you on everything, but I will always defend your right to say things that I agree with and to say things that I disagree with. I mean, that's what this is all about.
Well, and it was a vigorous debate we had on air. I think it went on for like 11 minutes, and exactly. Everyone told me afterwards that was probably the best radio they'd ever seen because you had two passionate individuals on both sides of an issue over me saying that Jay Inslee shutting down the state and hurting so many people with essential businesses, non-essential businesses, was like having his knee on the neck of those people. You were viscerally defending your position. I was, strongly defending my position. That's political discussion that apparently scares the stuffing out of the other side that says, no, we don't want anyone ever disagreeing with us because then it would show there's dissent.
And that's the thing. I didn't like your analogy. I told you so. We ended up screaming at each other. But I don't hate you because I disagree with you. I feel like our politicians hate those who won't step in line with them. And I think that's where we're looking at something horribly dangerous.
I mean, how dare you disagree with the common conventional wisdom that high car tabs must be high? Why can't we speak out against that? Why can't we do initiatives that seek to change that? Why can't their viewpoint is any dissent is a sign that people are going to feel like other people agree with them. And then you're going to have people not happy with what is happening to them. I mean, I've reached the point where I was forced to sell my interest in my home in Mukilteo in order to pay my lawyers, and even that's not enough. I mean, these guys want to crush anybody that's in dissent, and they hope that you'll eventually just give up and sign on the dotted line and move to Idaho or something. And I just think we have to stand up against that kind of fascism, that ability of the government to basically say we can't allow anyone to disagree with us because they're a danger to us.
Yeah, amen. All right. Okay, well, keep me posted. I'm sure we'll talk as your trial unfolds in a few weeks here, okay?
And I got to plug it. It's timdefense.com. Timdefense.com is my website where I've got all the information on the background on this. And obviously, if people can help me pay my lawyers and have it be where I don't have to sell anything else in order to pay my lawyers, that would be nice. It's timdefense.com. And again, Dori, welcome back, and glad to hear you swinging the bat still.
Thank you.